Hello learners, grammar for language skills. And language skills are exercised with the use of sentences. Do you remember that we started learning grammar only to learn making sentences? And in this pursuit, we have completed many lessons in grammar. We have completed connectors too, where we learned how to frame longer sentences. But that is not yet complete. Now we have to take another lesson here, clauses, the structure of long sentences. Here we learn how to frame longer sentences like complex and compound ones. Okay? But before that, we have to see what are the clauses. What is its definition? We know that basic structure of sentence is noun or pronoun plus verb. That is, subject plus predicate. Longer sentences have two or more such sets of subject and predicate combined into them. In such cases, every set of noun plus verb is called clause. See the following sentences. First one, I know that lockdown harmed our economy adversely. Second, she works in a school which is located in the remote area. Third, they are working so sincerely that they may get through the examination, right? Hence, on the basis of these observations, let's evolve the definition of clause now. Let's see it. A set of subject and predicate which is part of a longer sentence is called clause. Okay? In all the above examples, there are two clauses. They are underlined separately. Mark that each one of them is a set of subject and predicate. Let us see the contrast between a clause and a phrase. Clause contrasted with phrase. It is noticeable that phrase is also a group of words and a part of sentence, but it is not a set of subject and predicate. This is the distinctive point between a phrase and a clause, right? It is just a group of words working as a single grammatical unit, as noun or adjective or adverb or connector and so on, right? Let's see the kinds of clauses. Clauses are classified into two big groups, subordinate clause and coordinate clause. You can say coordinate clause or subordinate clause. Subordinate clause is further classified into noun clause, adjective clause and adverb clause on the basis of the function it plays in the sentence. Okay? Then adverb clause is further classified into 8 groups. Adverb clause of time, adverb clause of place, manner, condition, cause, result, purpose and extent. Now coordinate clause. They are classified into 4 groups: cumulative, adversative, disjunctive and elative. This classification of coordinate clauses is based on the kind of connectors as we have seen in the previous lesson. Okay. Now let's take coordinate and subordinate clause separately. When two clauses of equal grammatical rank or importance are connected with any of coordinate connectors into a longer compound sentence, we get coordinate clause. Or we can say that when two clauses of equal rank are connected with coordinating connectors into a sentence, that frames a compound sentence, right? See the examples of each kind of them. The thieves entered the room and robbed all his belongings. Cumulative. Here two facts are added simply with and. These facts are: the thieves entered the room, they robbed all his belongings. Now next, they tried but failed. Adversative. Here two contrasting facts are connected with but, right? So adversative. They tried, they failed, right? Connected with but. Third case, complete the assignment in time, or leave the job. Here, two facts put in option. One is to be chosen, so alternative or disjunctive, right? Next is, it is cloudy, so it may rain. Here, first fact, it is cloudy, and second fact, it may rain. It may rain is inferred from the first fact, so relative, right? So all these are the examples of compound sentences too, right? And both of them in each case are coordinate clause because they are equal in rank, equal in importance. Now subordinate clause. Clauses in a longer complex sentence are not equal, or we can say that in a longer sentence when two clauses are not equal but one depends on the other, the depending clause is called subordinate clause, and another one it depends on is called principal or main clause. The dependent clause may replace a noun in the main clause, or it may be an adjective to a noun in main clause, or it may be an adverb to main clause. Adverb to main clause means adverb to a part of a speech in main clause. Thus, they depend on the main clause. They don't have their separate existence. They say something about some noun or some part of a speech is the main clause, or they are the part of the main clause, right? Let's see the first example. The police does not know where the thieves are hiding. Noun clause here. Where the thieves are hiding, this is the object of verb now, and that is the verb of main clause, right? Next is, the police interrogated the man who is suspect of plotting. Here, who is suspect of plotting? This is adjective to man, and that is in main clause. So adjective clause. Third case, as soon as he reached the station, the train arrived. Here main clause, the train arrived. The train arrived when? As soon as he reached the station. This clause tells the time of the main verb. Verb in main clause. So this is adverb clause of time. All the above examples are the examples of complex sentence too. As in each of these cases, there are two clauses, and one is the subordinate to the other one. Both are not equal here. Okay? Now let's see the function of noun clause in detail. Noun clause. Noun clause is exemplified when a clause replaces a noun in main clause. Mark how they are functioning as noun in the main clause in following examples. Number 1. How she manages such a big family surprises everyone. See this sentence. How she manages such a big family, this is noun clause, and that is working as subject of verb surprises everyone. Surprises everyone is the part of main clause. Okay. Next one. I heard that an employee set fire to the office. Here, that an employee set fire to the office, this is noun clause that is functioning as object of verb heard in main clause, right? Number 3, do you remember what he said? Here, what he said is the noun clause that is functioning as object of verb remember in main clause. Main clause is do you remember? Number 4, she does not listen to what the elders say. What the elders say is the noun clause, and that is object to the preposition to in main clause, right? Number 5, man is what he eats, thinks and behaves. See, a wonderful sentence. Man is, then as complement to verb is in main clause, what he eats, thinks and behaves, a noun clause, right? Next, number 6. what he did is not known to us. Here, noun clause what he did is subject of verb is in main clause. Okay? If you separate the two clauses here, that would be like this. What he did, it is not known to us. So replacing it with the noun clause, you can combine them. What he did is not known to us. Number 7. That is very wonderful one. Try to understand it. How you behave is what your life is. Good. Here there are two noun clauses. How you behave and what your life is. One is the subject of main clause and another one is the complement of verb is in main clause. How you behave is subject of main clause. Then verb of main clause is, and as a complement to the verb is in main clause and the noun clause came, that is what your life is. Good. Here you cannot separate the noun clauses from the main clause. If you separate them, there would be almost nothing left in the name of the main clause. Right? So inseparable. I said no. Noun clause is inbuilt in the main clause. Right. Number 8. The news that an Indian plane crashed is true. Here, noun clause that an Indian plane crashed is in apposition to the noun the news. Let us see. The news is true and that an Indian plane crashed is true. So here the news can be replaced with noun clause that an Indian plane crashed. So this is in apposition to the noun the news. Right? Now let us see. Adverb clause of extent. Adverb clause of extent is not introduced by any connector. That is why it was not covered in lesson 20 on connectors, where all other forms of adverb clauses were exemplified. That is why we have to take it up here in brief. See its structure as given below. Number 1, the higher you climb, the colder you feel. See, there is no connector. Still the main clause is the colder you feel. The extent of you feel colder is determined by the clause the higher you climb. So this is adverb clause of extent. The same way, in second case, the more intense the winter grows, the more enjoyable it becomes. Main clause, the more enjoyable it becomes, its quantity, I mean enjoyability of winter, is determined by the clause the more intense the winter grows. So this is adverb clause of extent. Number 3, the lower the sun is, the redder it appears. See, main clause, the redder it appears. I mean the redder the sun appears. So this redder the sun appears, its extent is determined by the clause the lower the sun is. So this is adverb clause of extent. These examples are also the examples of complex sentences, right? Okay, now you can see that there is no specific connector here, but the underlined clause expresses the quantity or extent of the action denoted by main clause. Okay, we have taken up noun clause here, that is to be compressed into noun phrase in a comingation, nominalization, and adverb clause of extent, which was not included in lesson 20 as it uses no connectors. The rest, adjective clause as relatives and adverb clause of condition as conditionals, are to be taken up in coming lessons. They will be taken up in detail because of their practical value. The rest of the structures you have to practice unless and until the other structures come to you through the coming lessons. Okay, so I would like to extend again some advice and exercise. Let's have some exercise and advice. The topic of clauses is very long one, so it is divided into many small parts so as its practical uses may be brought out for raising language skills. Alright, keep on learning. All the best. Thank you very much.